I mean, it's a very lonely journey. Entrepreneurs who go solo, they have the idea, they execute the idea, then they build their team and they go from there. It's your closest friend or your family member who will want to put you down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MTTM's first ever episode, our first podcast that we started to dive into entrepreneurial sustainability and growth. We have a special guest with us today. You all know who he is. He's quite famous. Dhanushka Fernando, the CEO and founder of Finez Capital. He's also diverse in multiple investments, e-commerce, and interior solutions. He's Asia's outstanding entrepreneur. So we're going to get into him now and his story and what it takes to make a real entrepreneur. So Dhanushka, how are you today?
Thanks, Salal, for inviting me for your podcast as well. And it's my pleasure to, do this with you today.
Anytime. I'm glad to have you here with us, honestly. We have a lot of questions to go through, a lot of answers we need to hear.
And I'm ready.
You ready? All right. Then let's dive into it, right?
Super.
So now, Dhanushka, you have been Asia's top entrepreneur. How does that feel?
It feels good. Mm-hmm. I mean, to begin with, it's a sense of accomplishment, and it's a sense of, it's in another way, it's recognition for what you have done. So yes, I'm amazingly happy and proud about it. Plus, it's not only my achievement. I would say it's the entire team deserves the award and then the recognition as well. Because without them, I don't think I'll be able to do it on my own. So yeah, it's a good feeling.
Well, okay, now, obviously, a lot of entrepreneurs who may be logging into this video and watching us, they'll obviously get to know who you are and what you have won, but let's maybe scale back a bit further back behind the scenes to when young Dhanushka Fernando finally was sitting on his bed and decided, hey, you know what? I think it's time for me to break out of this norm, out of this 9 to 5. What made you do it? What emotionally got you there? And why?
So it's an interesting story behind it. One of the main causes was actually, I had a bit of a bad boss as well. Mm-hmm. So someone where I felt that I could do much better, but I felt that I'm not getting the right type of direction from him. Mm-hmm. And even the organization, I felt, hey, there's a lot more that can be done. So if I ventured out on my own and, if I were to break this norm, I felt that I could, do something much better than this. So that was one of the key points, or like an area where I felt that I could do something more than that, and also sort of be on my own. The whole concept of entrepreneurship, the way that we are talking today, I didn't know much about it. For me, it was sort of breaking away from the norm, doing something on my own and trying to, build something better than the organization that I was part at that time. Where I felt things were very legacy in that organization, and even the people, where I felt, things can be much better. I could innovate more. I could, give a better service. I could sort of build something better. So that whole impulse is something that got me to the journey of entrepreneurship.
So you just said, you just knew, you had a feeling, right?
Yeah,
that you could do better.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Like, obviously now, everyone tells you, like, hey, before you do something, hold yourself accountable to know that you're compatible to do that thing, or you're eligible to go for it, right? Where did you get there? How did you know that, okay, I can do this better? I am better in this way.
Yeah, I feel it's a mindset. It's a mindset that you believe that you're capable of, certain things. You're not scared to take that risk. Mm-hmm. You want to sort of make it somehow. So that all comes to your mindset. Not necessarily the skills you have, not necessarily the financial backing you might get, but it all starts within you. Because if I did not make that decision, I know for a fact no one else is going to make that decision for me. My parents never wanted me to make that decision. None of my friends or colleagues wanted me to leave a 9 to 5 job. I decided. So that's where entrepreneurship is about. It starts within you, right? You're the master of your own destiny. Unless you take the first step, I mean, trust me, no matter how much someone else pushes you, you're not going to be successful.
Very true.
So you have to have that mindset and believe, even if you are going to fail, Talal, making that start, you are definitely going to learn much more than more than someone else can teach you. So for me, I feel it's a mindset, and that whole feeling that I'm not scared to take that risk, and just go ahead with it, and no matter what, I felt that I could make it successful.
You said your parents didn't want you to make that move, and similarly like mine, there were some issues on whether I'll genuinely make it. Right? So we know your successes. What was your first failure?
First failure would be not keeping my accounts.
Not keeping your accounts.
Yeah, not keeping my accounts, and not keeping proper financial statements. If I were to use some jargon here, I knew how much I was making, and I knew how much I was spending. But managing your finances and managing your P&L, it's a much far bigger story than that. And the fact that once you establish an organization or a private limited, man, you need to pay your taxes, right? There are a lot of other fees that you need to pay to authorities. So to get to know that took me some time. And the moment you realize, man, you have to pay that entire backlog from the time you started, and you have to keep your accounts, and you need to get them audited. And to that, you need to find a proper auditor. So these were like major learnings for me. For me, I felt, I'm doing something, I'm earning money, and I can, spend all this, or, keep all this to myself. So coming to that realization took me about, at least about two plus years.
2+
to
years.
Keep my, accounts properly, make those statements, do the auditing. Along with that, Talal, the another thing was figuring out how to sort of get people, employ people, and how you keep them, get their JDs, get their salary structures done. Understanding, it's not about only paying them, it's about motivating them, it's about giving them a purpose. Now you're a startup, so they are not going to work for a major company, and no one knows about us. So these guys would randomly take a day off, or they would go on leave. Now you need to figure out, man, we need to put all the HR procedures, we need to have those standards in the organization. So figuring out all that took me some time. So these were interesting challenges back then, and then there was no one who taught me, hey, look here, this is the blueprint to do this, this is the protocol. I failed, and then I sort of figure it out.
So what was like your first team like? Now, obviously, every startup has their first ever team from one person, they either move to three or two.
Yeah.
What was that like? What was the most authentic experience of you and your first team?
So deciding that I need a team was the first realization I would say that I had. Without a team, I can't grow my organization. It can't be like a one-man show that I'm trying to do everything and then take all the money back. I operated solo for about 2 months. Then I operated from my room, like most startups, operated solo. That's why I told you, like first couple of months, I used to make a decent buck.
Decent buck.
All the profit or like all the revenue came to me. So expenses were minute. I mean, I didn't have to pay a rent, right? I was operating from my room. Then I didn't have to pay for anyone. I did all the work, and then I had my laptop, so there was no capex involved in starting the business. But after 2 months, I realized I can't be doing this entire thing on my own. I mean, I don't have a break. Neither I'm going to upgrade all my skills. So I need people, and I need to now invest a little bit of money on buying a couple of computers, having an office space, buying some chairs and desks. That's when the whole realization came. Look here, now I'm actually starting to establish a company, a culture, an organization which is more than just me. There's people around it, and I got two people. So two people I got, and I didn't put any advertisements. So I let people know, hey, look here, I'm hiring. If you know anyone, I first hired two graphic designers. So I'm looking to get couple of designers, and then if you know anyone, please suggest.
So this went through friends, family.
This was through friends and family. I told my colleagues who were in the industry, and then I told my friends, and then I managed to get two people. One guy was a very young fellow. The other one was actually one of my best employees. So this guy, he later went to Middle East, if I'm not mistaken. He was solid with his work. So I think I was very fortunate to have him. Because you can't easily find people with talent and then retain them as well. For a startup, that's one of the biggest challenges that any startup would face. Getting people, attracting people, and then retaining them, paying
Retaining them.
Yeah,
That's
retaining them is a major challenge. So I got lucky there with one guy. The other guy was a junior, so I could easily mold him to what I wanted him to be. So that is the inception of the organization or my entrepreneurial journey. So it just unfolded forward from there.
So now you started off in interiors, right? Interior design.
In advertising. In advertising, in communications, advertising and marketing. So that was my first company.
First company. And that is?
InMark.
So how to start off InMark? This is the main question I feel a lot of people have. When you started InMark, this is before you registered it, before you had ETF, EPS, you got a team in, right?
Yeah.
Did you have any moment where you were finding yourself hard to pay either someone's salary, or you were like, okay, I'm not even reaching break even, I had to go on zero today, but make sure they are paid. But I'll go on zero till next month end and see whether if I can make a profit, I'll push twice as hard. Was there ever a scenario like that?
I can proudly say we've always paid our salaries throughout. Like everyone who has worked for me, we have paid their salaries, no matter what. So that's something I don't know. For some reason, I felt it's an obligation that I somehow have to make.
Even if you don't make anything.
Yeah, even if I've never taken salary. First 2 to 3 years, I think I didn't take a fixed salary on a fixed date. Right? No fixed salary, no fixed date for me. But for the people who work, I don't know, like each entrepreneur is different. Some entrepreneurs would motivate the staff to work for 3 months or 6 months till we make money, and then you pay a lump sum. There are entrepreneurs, there are enough and more entrepreneurs and startups, or they would give a share or a stake of the organization. So there are a number of models that a guy or a girl, anyone who's entering the industry can follow. But back then for me, I did not know about those models. If I knew, I would have offered that as an option to these people, right? I thought, man, I have to pay their salaries. Even if I don't take anything back, even if I don't pay the electricity, I still had to, pay their salaries. So I've always paid their salaries. And then I think, nearly 2 to 3 years, I of course could not make, get get the same salary that I used to make, right? Back then, like when I was working, right? After the first year, first couple of months, I could not really make that amount of money. And even the money that I made, I used to reinvest on the business. So for me, I still remember I used to take about 5,000 or 10,000 back then. I'm talking 2010, 11, 12, okay?
You should
Uh,
take like, what do you mean like take like from
like
where?
I used to, draw a check, 5,000 bucks, 10,000 bucks to, cover my expenses. And it was never a fixed salary, as I told you, never a fixed salary on a fixed day.
Fixed day.
Right? When I was working, obviously, you are going to get paid. I mean,
you're
it
going to
can be
get paid.
25th or 30th or 5th, maybe there's 1 or 2 days delay, but you are going to get paid. And then you need to, cover your expenses, you need to do, if you have any loans, all that. But here, so I had to really manage my expenses because I knew I'm not going to, draw that fixed salary on that fixed date. So when I get a project or when I get a big project, I would, draw like, okay, 10,000 or 15,000, no? Then survive, and I made sure that I finished that and then get the balance and then build up my bank balance. So I opened a current account, wrote my first check, and I had to figure out all those things. And then simple things like, okay, when you write a check, I mean, in a wrong manner,
it gets...
now what to do with that? You can't just discard it and throw it away. There's a way to manage that in accounts, right? You need to cut the check number and then staple it and then make sure that no one can do anything with that. So you had to figure out all those things and whether to cross a check or not cross, or whether to write cash or whether to write it under your name. So multiple things I had to figure out. It's not like having a savings account and you have a debit card, you can go to the ATM and withdraw.
You can then,
current account. So I had to, I used to visit this. So I had the bank account with Commercial Bank, and I remember there was a Love's supermarket close to my house, and they had a mini, branch sort of a setup. Where, I mean, they know, like the moment that I go in with a check, it's a cash check for 5,000 or 10,000, and the guy knows exactly it's either 5,000, 10,000 or 15,000. Nothing in between. It's not for 1,000 or it's for 7,500. So I used to, that's how I used to sort of, survive. And then I always felt, that I need to pay my employees. And the part that I need to get a salary, or I need to get dividends, or I need to get a return, all came after few years of operating Talal.
Right. So basically your prior investment before, now you worked in a company for a while, right?
Yeah.
Did you use that money as a way to fund the company you started off?
Yeah.
Was that enough?
Well, I did some interesting things while I was working as well. So I think that whole entrepreneurial spirit was there with me. I'll go back to my first job. So after tsunami, at that time I was doing my degree, right? And then a long time back, Talas. So I know you're trying to justify not that young. So, but anyway, I try to look young, so at least that's a positive.
We're trying what we can.
So I volunteered for Sri Lankan Red Cross. I wanted to, that whole passion of doing something for my fellow countrymen. I think that's why I'm here. I mean, rather than moving away from Sri Lanka, I'm here trying to give something back to the country. It started way back, and then I offered myself as a volunteer, and I joined with Sri Lankan Red Cross. After 1 week of volunteering, these guys I think saw something in me, and they offered me a full-time job. I was the youngest fellow to join as a full-time member.
So how old were you at that time?
In my 20s, right? And everyone else was in their late 30s or 40s. Okay. It's the NGO. I mean, it's that sector attracts generally a bit of a mature, senior audience. And then after tsunami, they wanted to bring in like experienced, seasoned guys to help and then work in the organization. So I was probably the youngest guy. And then So while I was working, I got friendly with there were other Red Crosses representing different countries that came to Sri Lanka. We call them partner national partner societies or something, right? They range from French Red Cross, American Red Cross, German, so different countries, and people from these countries used to come to Sri Lanka and work, and they were young. Generally, they were in the same age bracket, and I was we like had like good friendships with them. Then so one society, I had a colleague, and so she said, "Hey, look here, we are looking to hire some IT trainers to train the staff because most of these people don't have any IT skills." And back then, I was doing a degree in IT, and I was into my third year or second or third year. So I knew my fair share of Word, Excel, basic stuff, right?
basic
How to
stuff,
operate a
right?
computer. So the basic
Windows
stuff,
XP, right?
Windows, yeah, Windows XP back then, right? So I said, hey, look here, you don't have to hire anyone. I can do this. I had my textbooks, and then so she said, okay, why don't you give me a small proposal? So I went back and I got some of my textbooks, basic skills in Word, Excel, basic computing. They were all in my textbooks, like first year textbooks, basic stuff, right? So I gave them a small curriculum. Okay, look here, these are the 4 or 5 sections, and I will conduct 5 or 6 sessions. And then they wanted to for me to give a fee, like how much I'm going to charge. So I said 3,000 at that time for about 2 hours, right? 2 to 3,000, right? It was a good amount, okay, even back then. Then they were like, okay, so is that for one person? I was like, no, it's for the entire group. I don't know like how many people we have about 4 or 5, and we could allocate that for each person.
Each person. All right.
So imagine me doing a session for nearly 1 to 2 hours, and each person who's present, kid you not, right? This is a 100% true story.
I believe
Each
you.
person paid me 3,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 in cash. So after each session, I used to collect about good 10-15,000 in cash.
Amazing.
And my work started at 9. So I conducted the classes at 8 or 7:30, right? Early morning I went, I did my session, and then I went back to work. And more than I earned from my job, I used to earn by doing that. And that's how I got my first vehicle.
First vehicle?
Yeah. I
Teaching
got
IT.
my car while I was doing my degree, and I funded it. I earned quite a lot, and those trainings went on for about 6 months to 1 year, right? Like every week, once a week, I'll do my session, get my money, and then I would go and give it to my mother, and she saved it for me. And then at that time, the FD rates were also pretty high because there was a recession in 2008, 9, 10. Anyway, the interest rates were high.
True enough.
So I managed to save quite a lot, and then I managed to get my first vehicle. I was just 22, 23, and none of my friends had a vehicle. So I had some capital with me. By the time I started my business, I had some capital with me, and I invested that. But I invested on my laptop. That's about it. I did not invest on infrastructure during the first couple of months. Then only I had to invest. But it was not a major investment. And we had another house like that was given on rent next to my place, and that's where I put up my office and then started the business.
So the office was the office.
Yeah, first office was just initially I started from my room, and then
moved on to
it
the
was
next door.
Yeah.
So next door was owned by, was it a family?
Yeah, it's family. Yeah, owned by my.
Did you still have to pay rent to your mom or dad because of it, or was it?
No, I did not pay rent. I did not pay rent, so I had that advantage.
Yeah, that advantage.
The space was given to me, but I did all the little decorative work, and then buying the laptops or like computers, and then the tables, the printers. I still have like some of those pictures. I did some nice interior.
You still have some of those pictures. Those are good memories.
I'll give that. I'll share that with you.
Soon we're gonna put
so
that
that's
out
how
there
it all
very soon.
started.
you said savings.
Yeah.
Now, as an entrepreneur myself, for over like 4.5 years now, a big problem I had was properly, and my parents do not fail to let me know about this part, how I allocate my money for different things. Now, I know many entrepreneurs, when they start off their journey, they either upscale too fast or they do it alone for too long. They handle either too many things that their time consumption goes above, or they upscale so fast that the money that they put into the company goes way above than what they can handle. So now, how did you save? How did you allocate money properly? And when did it come to that point where, was it like 4 months or 5 months after, where your company reached the point where you was like, okay, I'm now comfortable here with what I'm earning. I have a team, the work is going on, the clients are satisfied. I'm comfortable. When did that hit and how did you get there?
Well, that as an entrepreneur, you can't, I mean, like, you should never get into that comfort zone. As in, if you are too comfortable in what you're doing, I feel that you're not, inventing, or either you're not, moving fast enough. For me, the journey has been like over 10 years.
10 years.
There has never been a moment, even like today, when before you came in, like I was solving some problem. I was not just sitting and then, reading a book and thinking about, hey, Talal is going to come and meet me. Look, I need to do some reading to, answer all these questions. No, I was trying to solve some problem and sitting with either my general manager or with my team, they know, like, solving different problems. So, I mean, being comfortable is something that as an entrepreneur, I believe if you are in the comfort zone, either if you are in it or if you are in it for too long, there's something wrong.
Something wrong.
Something wrong, meaning that either the competition, because see, the thing is, if you are going to stay silent or if you are not going to innovate, the competition is definitely going to, overpower you, or like, go faster than you. There are much bigger companies. See, Yahoo was completely taken over. Nokia. So every industry, another player. Now that's what's happening in the electric vehicle industry. Some of the traditional players like my recent, I mean, you probably might know, like Honda, and then now the big guns are trying to get together because they can't survive the competition, and they are moving that much fast. And these are big companies led by like CEOs with so much of experience, right? They were back then, they were inventing things. I mean, we used to look up to those brands, study Toyota, Honda. They were big guns. But see, the way things are being disrupted, they have to, think of a new model. And if they were to sit there for too long, being in that comfort zone, these are multi-billion-dollar companies, right?
True enough.
So even they need to, keep on, coming out from the comfort zone, keep on inventing and doing things. So it's like, more than being in the comfort zone, it's about completely, I mean, you put the systems, you put the processors, you put the structures, things flow in the direction you want them to flow. That's what an entrepreneur should aim.
Amen.
Right? If say for an example, now I have a vision of, going global. And I can't, just because I go global, I can't sit and wait and relax. I don't believe in that. I need to put the systems and the processors and also hire the people to ensure I'm going in that direction.
This main question I've been thinking about. You speak about the comfort zone. You speak about how you came to this idea, being 25, being young. And 25 isn't the age most people categorize as being mature. That's obvious, right? Everyone says you find yourself at 27, and I don't believe that. I see some people still going around the world seeking who they really are. As an entrepreneur, you started at 25. Now, a lot of things happened for you at 25, if I'm correct. You met your lovely wife when you were in college, yes?
Yeah.
How about that story? Just give us a small insight. How do you balance your entrepreneurial life and your love life?
Well, challenging, definitely. Not easy. I mean, you need to know when to prioritize what.
Prioritize one, yeah.
So, but part of entrepreneurship is knowing how to balance multiple things. So, you end up balancing your personal life as well as your professional life. and entrepreneurship itself would require you to work, more than 9 hours.
More than 9 hours.
Definitely, more
So
than
that was
9
your work. That was your work hours per day.
That was my work hours when I was doing a corporate, like 9 to 5 job. But the moment I left it, I had to work extra.
You had
And
to work extra, right?
definitely. I mean, you sometimes people think by being an entrepreneur, you can work less and you can make more money.
True enough, yes.
Not the case. Not the case. You have to go through the grind, right? You have to hustle. You have to sort of put in those extra hours. You're figuring out something when it comes to entrepreneurship. You're trying to create something. You're no one. That's why. See, you have the purpose. You have the vision. You're building towards it. So if anyone thinks by working 9 hours you can do all that, trust me, it's not going to work. Later, once you establish your enterprise, then true, you could take certain days off, you could work less, you could automate, you could delegate, you could have more time for yourself, but not during the first 2 to 3 years. You definitely need to work at least good 14-15 hours. Trust me.
14 to 15
Definitely,
hours.
definitely.
My God.
And I used to work till late. So everyone has their strengths. Some people wake up early. Some people work till late. So I
Work till
used
late.
to sort of work till 2 a.m. or even 1, 2, most of the days. So that's where I would have time, extra time to, think of something new or just complete a project, all that. So yeah, I mean, like working extra and then at the same time managing your personal life, giving time to your loved ones, going out with them, doing all the things. So that also requires a lot of time and commitment. So it's not easy to manage.
It isn't, yes.
But if you manage it properly, you learn the art of managing things. So that will definitely come in handy.
Now, to dive into a really crucial element, right? As an entrepreneur, I faced a lot of hazard in this savings. Now, everyone would say, yeah, Talal, you just got to know where to prioritize putting your money into, maybe an investment, put it into an FD, get some ROI, or maybe give 20% to your mom, give the money to your mom, let your mom give you money when you need to go out so she'll keep in track. In your case, what is the best way that you found you were able to account your savings, and these only for personal use, aside from company spending, when you made that buck, how did you save money? How were you able to keep it going?
Well, financial discipline is a crucial thing to master when it comes to entrepreneurship. That's why I think it should be taught during school, right?
School.
During your college years, you need to be taught on in terms of financial discipline. You can earn millions, but if you don't either invest it back or if you don't save or if you are not going to multiply it, definitely after some time you're going to lose all that. So that's what happens to a lot of entrepreneurs. They don't have proper financial management. Financial management, Talal, is not about saving only. It's knowing when to spend your money and on what to spend and what to invest, what to reinvest. So the concept of entrepreneurship, one crucial part is to make money and make profits. Not only money, right?
Make
Some
profits.
people make money; they make lots of revenue,
But they don't have any.
there's a clear distinction between making money
Making
and
profits.
earning a profit. That's where you need to dig deep and study the different industries to know exactly what's your GP or your gross profit is.
So where did you learn it? Like, how did you get there?
So, I mean, you have to read, you have to learn. If not, there is no other way. Or you need to have a mentor to guide you and then tell you these things. Or if you have an investor investing in your business, definitely they are going to ask you the hard questions. How many years it's going to take you to break even? Maybe 3, maybe 5, maybe 6 months. So each industry has
Has its own.
it's its own timeline to break even. Generally, traditional industries, it was 3 to 5 years back then, but right now people can't wait that long to break even. They might want to break even within the first 3-4 months, right? I mean, if you want to make money, you can't be
You can't be in
you
a
can't
rush.
survive,
You can't,
right?
yeah.
So then in terms of saving, Entrepreneurship, I mean, a company, if you establish a venture, it would have a current account, not a savings account. So you're not going to accumulate interest by default. Say for an
Accumulate
example,
interest by
yeah.
default. All
So
right.
for an example, imagine you earn 100,000 from your first job. Now you put it back to your current account. Then you need to expense from that. You need to pay your staff. You need to pay your overheads, probably your rent. Imagine you pay 75,000. Then you're left with what? 25,000. And that's not your pure profit
That's not
also,
your profit also, yes.
right? You might want to take something back from it. Say you take 10,000 back. So you actually done business worth 100,000, but your profit or your take would be 10% out of
10%
it.
of it.
That's just 10,000. So if someone is going to think, hey, just because I crack a deal of 1 million or 100,000, all that money is going to come to me, definitely they are going to fail very, very fast. Then whatever you take, and then you're going to keep a certain portion of that back in the organization. You would probably channel some of that money back to a savings account, or you want to put a small FD. It's going to accumulate you interest. But the best way is not that. Best way is to invest on something else or invest back on the organization.
Yes, back.
Either you want to buy some equipment, better equipment that will help you to do your job better. So that's where the entrepreneurial thinking needs to come into place. How you would, make more money from the little that you get. If you're making 100,000 this month, next month you can't be making 50,000. You have to, look at making 100,000 or above, and have that financial forecast. So a lot of
Financial
businesses
forecast.
don't forecast at the beginning of the year. If you ask from me, our organizations, we would have a forecast based on our last year. Okay, we made X number of revenue. Now we need to make 10% more in the next financial year.
You go by 10%, not even a huge this one, right? Just
I mean,
10.
it can be any. I mean, it's not only about making doing a huge job. It's about from whatever you get, you need to know what to spend and where to spend and how to spend. A lot of people, they end up spending. And another thing is, if you sign up for a project based on projected income, don't make your decisions.
Based on projected income, don't make a
Yes.
decisions.
Till you have the money or the cash in your account,
Don't make decisions.
you never know. Things can go wrong. Things can go south. Things can, they can cancel their decision at the last minute. So if you are trying to make decisions on your projected income or projected revenue, most people go wrong there. But if you are an established business, at least you have some cushion, you have some money. You know that even if you have a bad month or even a bad year, still you can survive with your savings or with the money you have already made. So when things are good, you need to make the maximum use of it and then save something back for the bad months.
Bad months.
That's why I told you, you have to project, you have to do your forecasting. And even concepts like scenario planning. These might sound a bit technical, but I mean, entrepreneurs should know about this. So scenario planning in simple terms, Tala, is about you planning for, say 3 worst case scenarios. In 2025, we anticipate, we might have another war in the world, or we might have a recession, or we might have political instability in the country. So you predict. And then if this scenario happens, what you're going to do. Your business might be small, but the macro factors would definitely affect your business. So these things entrepreneurs need to learn.
Think about.
They need to think about those things. These are not just mere technical jargon. These are real life situations. We faced the East attack. We faced the COVID. There was a financial crisis, and we survived all. Because we were able to plan and we were able to survive and then innovate around these scenarios as well.
Regards to what you just said, you said, now obviously other than COVID, which we did see coming through from country to country, Easter bombings and some of the other things we did not see, it was unexpected, right? Your company still managed to sustain and even grow some sort of throughout those years. Now, when you say you planned a trajectory, how did you plan? How do you know it'll end over this month, or maybe it'll be more pleasant after this month, so we can expect profits? How did you like make that idea? How do you even push it towards a team? It was all, nothing was decided. Everything was in the unknown.
If you study the history of mankind, there have been like major, disasters or major incidents. You take the World War, right? You get like different recessions, financial crisis. Like every civilization would have their own set of problems, but nothing is going to sort of last forever, as in even the good times or the bad times. So during COVID, no one knew what to expect. And a lot of people thought, even businesses thought, hey, this is like the end of the world, right? Okay, everyone is either going to die or we won't be able to find some cure for it. But after a couple of years, things were, bouncing back. And then that time, as an organization, we invested heavily on our people, training and doing research. So people were working from home, right? But we could not canvas for any business. So we got our people to do a lot of reading, study, courses. There were a lot of online stuff. So you utilize that time. What matters, Tala, compared to your competition, say you can be in any industry. You need to identify your top 3 or 5 competitors. And on a given day, if you're doing something more than them, chances of you being the top of your industry is that much higher compared to them. So that's my thinking. So imagine if we are not doing anything and we are just lying around and sitting around and staying and thinking, hey, it's COVID, there's nothing that I can do. Just sit here and wait till this is over. I mean, if my competitor does at least one thing more than me, he's going to be successful. Right? So what we want to do is we want to utilize that time in the best possible way. And I give that instruction to my team. Look here, you all need to learn something. You all need to open up your... That's when my team started opening up their LinkedIn profiles. Connecting with people. Even architects, interior designers. Writing to them. Some of these guys have never been on LinkedIn. Trust me, we have like salespeople who have never been on LinkedIn. At that time. We got them to open up LinkedIn profiles. We got them to reach out to architects, interior designers. We got our team to work on new creatives. We got our team to work on our profiles. That's when we opened our e-commerce platform. We realized it's not about having physical stores anymore. People want to order things online. It's a good opportunity for us to reinvent ourselves. So every obstacle, every challenge, every bad time, an entrepreneur, if you have that mindset, you will keep on trying to make the maximum out of any bad situation.
So the e-commerce store boomed.
That's when the e-commerce side, that's when we started getting into the whole e-commerce business.
So how long did it take for you all to specialize in, like get used to it? Obviously, there were a lot of new things, right?
Yeah. I mean, still we are getting used to it, right? It's a completely novel business for us. So, but I mean, it's performing now. So that's the additional revenue stream for the organization.
Would you say it's more competitive over there than it is like outside the e-commerce stream?
I would say it's competitive, equally competitive in any given space. That's where, Talal, when we are operating in a small market, there are a lot of people trying to do the same thing. Opportunities are limited, so you have to have that first move advantage.
So it's not about being unique anymore. It's about being there before
anyone. Because resources, technology, it's open to everyone. You have access to, like ChatGPT. Or if you are willing to pay a little bit extra, there are so many AI platforms that you can get your shit done. So just like you, anyone else would have access if they have internet. Simple as that. You don't have to be like filthy rich to access this. It's open to anyone, right? Your father doesn't have to be rich. Neither you have to have the most fancy laptop to access.
True enough.
You have to have the willpower.
The willpower.
Yes. Grit. And the ambition, hey, look here, I'm going to make use of these resources so that I can do better than another person. That's where your ambition, willpower, that whole entrepreneurial mindset thinking comes to place. That's what a lot of people lack. They wait for things to happen.
Speaking of lacking, right, and waiting for things to happen, one of the other crucial factors I recently got to know by speaking to a couple of entrepreneurs, a lot of them, in fact, was they do not know how to retain a team. Now, obviously, throughout COVID and everything that your company had gone through, you managed to build upon your team. Like you said, when things were going wrong in the front end, you took care of the back end.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you manage to keep a constructive team, like from the moment this everything went down? How did you? There was obviously a visualization. There's a picture in your head. It's okay, no matter what's happening. This is where we're going to go. How did you give them that exact picture that was in your mind? Because speaking that, emphasizing on a picture can sometimes be hard. So how did you do it?
So it took me some time, Talal, to understand the concept of retaining people. Not only retaining people, it's also about empowering them.
Empowering them.
And it's also about delegating, driving a purpose. So all these things sort of need to come into place for you to retain a team.
True enough.
Working with one person is easy. Working with two is also easy, right? 3, 4, 5. But the moment you cross 10, you need to have a lot of systems and structures in place as well. See, you might then want to have a couple of managers. You need to exactly know what they need to manage. You need to give them direction. Hey, look here, these are the tasks, these are your responsibilities, this is what you're supposed to do. And they will have 3 or 4 people under them. But if they are not driving the same vision as you, that level it's going to fail. So you have to keep on driving your purpose to your team. And they need to start believing in you. And along with that, there are a lot of other things like trainings, upskilling them, and then teaching them, being with them, building that bond, that team spirit. So all that matters. And at times you get lucky. Like I told you,
Your
the first guy, like a couple of people that I hired from that one person was extremely talented. I didn't have to coach him much. Neither I had to motivate him. He was a self-motivated guy with a lot of talent, and I was lucky. So if you're lucky, I mean, if you are to find people like that, that's going to make your job that much easy. But I mean, if you take our team, they are there because they would genuinely believe in the cause. They are happy with the organization. They are happy with the work they do. They are happy with the responsibilities that's allocated to them. They are happy with each other. It's the organizational culture. So it's a very entrepreneurial driven and organizational culture that we have. That's been the sort of secret to gluing everyone together and then having everyone, working towards a common cause. Plus, it's not about having the most talented people as well in an organization. There are people who are performing better than certain other people. Sometimes some of the weak people might have, in terms of skills, things that would glue the team together. They might have better PR skills. They might be good at organizing an event. You need to find out. It's like you coaching like set of kids. It's like you coaching your basketball team or your football team. Not everyone can score goals. Some are there to pass the ball and rotate it. Some are there to defend. So you need to understand the strengths of each and every person. Sometimes entrepreneurs, they think you need to have the best team and everyone should be equally good at performing their task.
True.
You will never find that team.
Never find that team.
I've tried a lot to find that best team. Sometimes you read in books, you need to have the best team.
Yeah,
you need to have all the high-end performance. But judge some of the successful teams. It's a team effort. So collectively, they are better. If you're a cricket fan, I've seen matches where the world 11 would play against Australia. But chances are that Australian team would win compared to an all-star
team.
Cricket team. They will have individual talent. They might be really good at that. But as a team, they will fail. So in an organization, it's the job of the leader or the entrepreneur to gel this team and identify each person's strengths and weaknesses, and then work with that, work with what you get. So they are able to perform at their peak or at their level best. Plus, I tell my team that their competition is not inside the organization, it's outside the organization.
Let's just get into that a bit more. You say it's not inside, so that means there is no competitive advantage between them and someone else within the team, but it's all outside.
All outside.
So what about promotions and stuff like that?
So promotions would happen as long as they are performing well in their part. But when it comes to competition, Tala, let me explain what I meant. Imagine now one of my guys here, Dilshan, he's creating content. So I tell him, your competition is not about creating content with another person in the organization. It's about if a competitor is doing better content, that's where your competition is. Figure out who's the person who is doing that content, and if he's doing a better job than you, that's your competition.
That's your competition.
So you need to you need to do better than that person. And if you do that, obviously the company is going to perform better. So their competition, that's what I mean. Their competition is these are new concepts. Like certain companies will not practice these sort of different ways of management. So their competition is always outside. Say they would want to benchmark with another person from a different industry.
True enough.
So that way they would always try to do better, and everyone in the team is trying to do that or benchmark with the international company. If we are benchmarking Finez with another company internationally, at any given department, if they are better, say it can be production, it can be distribution, it can be HR, it can be admin, marketing, finance, and if we feel they are doing better, I tell my team, hey, that's your competition. Whoever the person performing that task in that organization, understand, get to know, and then try to do better than that person. Then your department will definitely do better. That's the reality, Tala.
It's reality.
Some companies try to create a lot of internal competition. It's not very healthy for an organization.
It's toxic, right?
It becomes very toxic. Then people try to compete with each other. You need to have that friendly environment. You need to drive that passion within your team to do better. Not to do better than each other, but to do better than whoever you benchmark yourself. That's where you want to be. That's where you see your company moving forward. At times you might not have anyone to compete with. Then it's good. That means you are the best. So keep up.
Keep up. Then it's you versus yourself.
You versus yourself, right? Simple as that.
All right. Okay. That's actually something new, which I haven't heard about that concept for a while now. What are the three biggest lies? This is a really good question. What are the three biggest lies?
I told customers.
Now that you open that part up, right? So obviously when startups started, they have gone to come. There was a point where someone would come and acquire them or meet them, ask them if they could do something, and they would say yes, but they in reality don't know what to do. They'll go back and figure out what to do. So what were your three biggest moves in that way?
I will not wait till I perfect something to execute. Something I've learned.
So have you ever lied to a client saying you can do it, then you go back and figure out how to do it then and there?
Yes. I won't say it's lie, but expectations are such that the clients do have. At times we have to figure it out during the time we manufacture something. It's the process that we need to figure it out. We know we have the strengths, we know we have the skills, raw materials are there, people are there, but we've never done it before.
Never done it before.
So if they give us an opportunity to do it, we will definitely take the challenge and go ahead and do it, saying that we can do it.
Saying that you can do it.
For sure. If not, if our people are not challenged at all, they are also not going to, come up with new ways of doing things. They are going to be in their comfort zone.
There won't be any diversification.
I've told, our salespeople, whatever the project we get, tell the client that we are capable of doing it. And I will personally ensure that we do it.
There must be a lot of stress on you there.
A lot of stress in that way. But I think that has played out well. I mean, there are places or there are times that it has backfired too. Not everything has gone perfectly. It
yeah.
won't, Talal.
It will.
There are a lot of factors you can't control. At times we will say the client, okay, we'll give this project, we'll do this before 10th of Jan, but unfortunately we are not able to meet that deadline or the target. Things like that have happened. It do happen. I mean, say you give a particular budget to a client, you might not be able to stick with that budget. The actual work might take that much longer. But taking that challenge and then doing it, that's what
To see how
sets an
far you
entrepreneur.
go, right? To see how far you go.
And it's a journey. The whole concept of entrepreneurship is like a journey. You travel through an unknown road. You just go and then you travel. You find a lot of obstacles. You find like interesting sceneries. You find so many different things. So you just need to experience
Experience
that,
it,
and then go with that journey and then enjoy it.
All right. So, okay, how about this? What are the three biggest lies? Now,
Three biggest
obviously,
lies, okay.
So we're still on that topic, by the way. Now, everyone has this idea that a successful entrepreneur who has won awards like you, on Asia's and whatnot, and you are a well-renowned entrepreneur. Let's be honest here. When everyone looks at you, they probably have an idea or an assumption. A successful entrepreneur means someone like this. He probably has lands or money flowing from like trees or vehicles and a lot of people coming after them. Could be various things. So like in what are the biggest lies you can clear off for social media mainly and the young entrepreneurs out there and be like, hey, no, look, that's a lie. There's a truth about being a successful entrepreneur. Just three lies.
So, I mean, if you take me personally, not that I have wealth all over the country, no. Not that I, have like, 10 different fancy vehicles to drive, no. I would rather have a lot of knowledge that I have acquired over time in doing things. That's more worth to me than probably certain owning physical assets. Knowledge, Talal, you put me back to zero, I can still
build something ground up.
Yeah, I can still build something from zero. That's because I've gathered that knowledge, that experience over time. So people might, that's an intangible asset.
Yeah,
That might be a good.
Yeah, I'll get to that on the third one, introverted.
So a lot of people think entrepreneurs, they live a, really lavish lifestyle. They're very flamboyant, outgoing. They have a lot of cars. They have a lot of wealth. Mansions.
Mansions, yes.
And then they frequently travel. Not really. Not every entrepreneur is like that. Some genuinely work hard for their wealth. And for me, it's having that, having intangible assets. So tangible assets are what you see, right? And what you can touch and feel. Maybe your vehicle, or maybe, having 5 vehicles, having a mansion here, mansion there, villa over there, down south, all that. Those are tangible assets. But the knowledge you acquire is far more important than all the tangible assets. You might lose all your tangible assets one day. If you're bankrupt and you need to pay your taxes, if something goes south, you might have to sell all of them to pay your debts. But if you have the knowledge and the mindset, definitely you can start from the scratch. So just because you see all this flamboyant lifestyle, I won't say that's would be people might think entrepreneurs are extrovert characters. Not really. There are a lot of entrepreneurs that I know who are introverts.
Speaking on that, right? Introvertedness, right? So now a lot of people have this misjudgment, right? And they're like, hey, I'm an introvert. Now I thought I was an extroverted character. I'll be honest, because I can talk. My mom says I'm a chatterbox, right? My mom, she's done an MBA, MSc, she's not doing a PhD, and no matter what she says, having all that knowledge, has something to say back. Knowing that she has all that knowledge, and I can't even come close to the education knowledge that she has. She's really smart. My dad being on top of his game as well, I still argue with them, right? Because I'm an entrepreneur and I feel like I have this other view on things that they don't have for some reason. but then that could come off as Sri Lanka Pandita or something like that, right? So I have to deal with that. They think I'm Pandita, I'm egoistic, and I'm like, no, I just feel like this perspective should be taken into consideration as well. But my parents, God bless them, they got me here. The whole idea is that introvertedness, I thought I was an extrovert until someone who was really close to me told me, being an introvert doesn't mean that you're a silent person. It means that when you want to recharge, you recharge it alone. Extrovertedness means when they're down, they need people to recharge. So
True.
that doesn't imply who you're on the front end. It's who you're in the back end. So introverted means that when now apparently I'm an INFJ apparent to my personality test that we were doing all these things. That when I'm down, I need to be alone. I can't be with people. When I need to properly focus, I need to be alone. I can't be with people. I just need to focus on my thing, my shit, and get it done. But extroverted people, they need a group. They have to go and be there. That's how they work. That's how they be happy, right? So there's apparently a huge difference. So would you say an entrepreneur is more likely to have an introverted back end or an extroverted back end?
Definitely introverted.
Definitely introverted.
Definitely. I know a lot of entrepreneurs who are introverts, and we share these thoughts. And at times they are trying to figure out who they are. And it ultimately boils down to, them figuring out, hey, look here. Even though we might go out there, talk a lot, and we might express, do a lot of things, that doesn't mean we are, we have an extroverted personality. They are introverts. Most of the entrepreneurs that I know at least are introverts.
So would you say like their main, some of them, you said they think about a lot of things, right? I personally, I still go through an identity crisis. I don't know who I am, yet I do all these things. I shake hands with people and I say, this is what I do, this is what my vision is. But then when I look at myself, I'm like, but who am I like in that case, right? And then I have no one who really genuinely understands me as an entrepreneur. It's hard to find some person. It's blessed that I have the two people I have now in my team, and even Onadi and Johnny, Satish and Dev. But that team took me time. I got them recently. Over the past 4 years, 3 years, there was no one who I could be understood by, so I ended up being alone a lot. And that resulted in other cases as well. So how would you, I'm pretty sure you went through that as well.
True.
So
all entrepreneurs go through that.
Yeah.
Unless some people, they start a business, you get about 3 people getting together, group of people starting a business, then at least you have each other to depend on. But that comes with its own set of problems as well. One partner might want it to happen in a certain way, the other person might want it to happen in a completely different way, and then you have a lot of struggles and obstacles and issues. Then you break up. I've seen that.
Yeah.
So, but then you get entrepreneurs who go solo. They have the idea, they execute the idea, then they build their team, and they grow from there. And it's a very lonely journey. Sometimes no one else would understand you. No one else is there to support you. Sometimes it's your closest friend or your family member who will want to put you down. Things like that are very common in entrepreneurship. And you feel, man, am I the only one who's facing this issue? Because what the world portrays outside is not that. They never, portray failures. They never talk about failures.
True.
And as Sri Lankans, our culture is such, we don't celebrate, failures.
Failures, yeah. It's more of you had to be ashamed by it.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So parents want their kids to be the best. They want their, what we spoke about, they want their kids to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer, go to a local university, do a good job.
Because that comes under the respectable profession, right?
Plus, they are celebrated in families. It's like, you want your children to get married, raise kids. So these are things that are being celebrated in the society, but failures are never celebrated. So if you go through a divorce, or if you are fired from your job, or even say you start a business and you fail, we never celebrate. What I mean by celebration is we need to talk about these things. We need to express. We need to, help them. We need to motivate them. We need to be there for them. That's celebrating. That's being there for that particular person. Not throwing a party. Some people throw a party when they get divorced. That's a different
scenario.
That's a different scenario. But I'm talking in terms of celebration, it's about appreciating for what they have done, what they have gone through. So that, because every person goes through different challenges in life. your path to success might be completely different to my path to success, and the amount of challenges Talal might face would be completely different to the amount of challenges that I might face. But it's important that you go through that and you develop yourself as a person. A person who has failed would have more experience to share than someone who has been successful, because someone, when you fail, that's when you learn.
True enough. And alongside those lines now, family and us. We are entrepreneurs. We are born in a family of people who found their purpose in a corporate job, and this is nothing wrong. My dad has a respectable position in a corporate job. So does my mom. So does my brother, right? But then the journeys that we are all going in, I feel a bit different. So like that happens, I believe, with every entrepreneur and their family. Now, our parents would advise us on what they believe is best, according to the companies that they have been through and how they run their structures. So when they try to imply that in our journey as entrepreneurs and we are being innovative, would you say, now I have faced some good obstacles there, honestly. Like you start thinking your whole life through from there, right? And they might push a degree on you. I'm not against education, but I have never been the best at books or textbooks. I have been best at innovative and monetizing things. And I have enough proof on that as well. But in your case, how would you say you can distinguish a fine line to make parents understand when their one son who is not like within the family chooses to go on an innovative path? How to be more capable of understanding, because maybe the moves I make cannot be understood by them, and that doesn't mean they have to project certain displeasing or any sort of like, hey, don't do it, we know better, we are more experienced, but the experience in the business sector. But being an entrepreneur means it's a whole different category. So how do you distinguish a fine line there? That's something I believe a lot of entrepreneurs would.
I mean, I was just eyeing this book, Talal, because I still remember a line from this book. I mean, it's entrepreneurship, right? That says a South Asian perspective. So it matches our, the whole ecosystem in Sri Lanka as well. So it defines entrepreneurship in a particular way, and let me find out. So it says entrepreneurs are individuals who recognize opportunities where others see chaos or confusion.
Chaos or confusion.
They are aggressive catalysts for change within the marketplace. They have been compared to Olympic athletes challenging themselves to break new barriers. So you're an Olympic athlete. You're compared to an Olympic athlete, and I would say that's true.
That's a good definition.
That's a good definition. To long distance runners dealing with the agony of the miles, to symphony orchestra conductors who balance the different skills and sounds into a cohesive whole, and to Top Gun pilots who continually push the envelope of speed and daring. Whatever the passion, because they all fit in some way. Entrepreneurs are the heroes of today's marketplace. So that's something that I believe. I think I spoke with you that entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka only accounts to less than 3% of our population. So they are the real heroes. They are the people who are making the change. They are the catalyst of that change. Right? And it's very important in a country like Sri Lanka that we encourage entrepreneurship and we support entrepreneurs. And parents support that odd one out. The one who wants to take that challenge. Make that change. Because ultimately, those are the people who would actually go out there and make that change. And when they make that change, Salah, it's not only them who are going to benefit, it's the whole society. The whole ecosystem, which our traditional families fail to see. Yes, a doctor might give you medicine, true. But the medicine he prescribes might be an entrepreneur who would go, or a scientist who would go and find that medicine. Because they have the ambition, and even scientists and even researchers.
It's very true, yes.
I mean, they resemble very close to entrepreneurs, because they are there to invent something,
Finding
find
new things,
something. They
researching.
are also entrepreneurs for me, definitely, because I told you some entrepreneurs make money and make all the headlines, but some they don't.
Some are behind the
Some
scenes.
are behind the scene, but they are still making change. They are still inventing something. They are contributing towards a greater good of the society. So these are the type of people we should celebrate.
On that same line, the type of people we should celebrate, and I think I was discussing this with you, right? There are few, and obviously not to make it controversial, but now in Sri Lanka and in any country, there's this thing where there are a lot of entrepreneurs that need to be seen, their stories need to be heard, right? But the entrepreneurs that have been heard are the ones we consistently hear, and in every podcast, in every meeting, in every event, it's them who's being called. Understandable, they made their success, it's obvious, but they were able to portray to the world. There are a lot of entrepreneurs who didn't portray to the world, but who exceedingly made more success than even them. So on that behalf, I'm trying to get that information as well out there, because maybe that is something people really need to hear, right? So what is your thought on that?
So some are, good behind the scene. Some are good at talking about all the achievements. So you get like different types of entrepreneurs as well, right? People who are good at expressing themselves. But it goes back to what I told you. So there are a lot of heroes behind the scene, a lot of people who have achieved things. They might not come in front of a screen and talk about their achievements, but they should be celebrated, right? And we need a lot of role models in this country for the youngsters to look up to.
Look up to, yes.
Take as people to follow. And parents should never restrict their children from following those role models. Role models are not people who have been a great achiever in a corporate job only.
True enough.
Right? And I'm telling you, Talal, nothing against them, but I've met a lot of corporate leaders who are good in that space, that defined space. They know they are protected. They work in a protected environment most of the time. You have your corporate environment protecting you. You have your managers. You have the resources.
You have a
So
structured foundation.
you are given. It's like you're going to study for an exam, and you are given a textbook, and you're going to be questioned only from that textbook. You're now playing in a very safe environment. You just need to study this textbook from end to, from start to end, and for a fact you're going to get questioned only from this textbook. So most of the time, I'm not saying all the time, but most of the time working in a corporate environment is similar to that. You are given a guideline, you know what you want to do, what is expected from you, and you are supported. You have your staff, you have your resources, you might have your infrastructure, you will have a senior, and then you compare that with an entrepreneur.
It's different.
The bugger doesn't know what his boundaries are, right?
Goals are close.
He doesn't know what time to start or what time to end.
Yeah.
He doesn't know whom to rely on.
True enough.
He doesn't know whether he'll get the money tomorrow or not. So now you're faced with so many challenges that is really going to test your character. That's why I told you it's your mindset.
It's the mindset.
Right? Everything else you can learn along the way. But you can't really, if you don't have the mindset to sort of face those challenges and then overcome those challenges. When I started, I did not know a lot of things. I told you I didn't know even to open up a bank account, right? I had to figure that out, right? I had to get someone to, test or someone to say, okay, look here, this guy is good enough to open up a current account in your bank, and banks require that. So I had to get someone who had a bank account with that particular branch to come and give a letter or something saying back then. I don't know the procedure now. I've not really.
I think it still is a bit
probably the same now. We don't have problems in opening our bank accounts, but back then that was a problem. So if someone stopped me at that point, I wouldn't be here.
True.
So our entire system from the financial institutes should support entrepreneurship, from taking loans to empowering them, financial management. The problem is not many have done that, so we can't really find those role models to advise the young people, and they at times follow the wrong type of role models, and then they go astray. So say for an example, if I come here And if we did this podcast in front of my fancy car, and then I had like a nice mansion, like a rented out villa behind me,
Yeah.
and I could like wear some nice, gold or whatever. And then I talk about, entrepreneurship. Hey, look here, Talal, this is what you can achieve. I can drive a fancy car, 3 years of work, and look here, man, this is what I'm driving. You can work for 2 years and you can buy this, right? I can talk, I can say a lot of bull like that, but that's not the reality. So people fall prey to all that. Because when you're young and you like that lavish lifestyle, right? You want to work, you want to, drive a nice car, you want to have a nice place, you want to, probably buy an apartment, do all that. And then if one guy comes and say all that, people will not question. They fall to that trap. So entrepreneurship is definitely not that. I'm telling you, it's the complete opposite of entrepreneurship.
Complete opposite.
You need to first, figure out what you want to do with being an entrepreneur. Fix up your mindset. Then work hard. At least 3 years. Have someone to support you. But even if no one is there, you have to trust in yourself. That's why, entrepreneurs naturally become introverts too.
Very understand. We depend on ourselves a lot, right?
Yeah.
You said trusting yourself. Now, amongst a lot of entrepreneurs out there, it's easy to see where majority of the entrepreneurs right now cater their niche towards. So mainly in Sri Lanka, you get clothing, or you get the IT sector, digital marketing, or further whatnot, right? You decided to go with interior architecture. You decided to build up e-commerce. You kind of diversified, but your niche is completely something that not 1 out of 10 would choose, but maybe 1 out of 50, 1 out of another 100.
1 out of 100, probably, yeah.
Why is my question.
So, Talal, when you want to start something, people try to imitate a lot, right? You see success in certain industries and you feel that you can be successful too. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that you need to understand whether that market is saturated or not. Just because you want to start doesn't mean you can be successful. There will be probably another hundreds of people wanting to do that. So there is a book called Blue Ocean Strategy, if I'm not mistaken. You probably would have heard about it. So you have to learn how to compete in a blue ocean. So red ocean is where you have a lot of competition, right? You can't easily find your prey, right? You can't compete there. Too much of competition. You go to a blue ocean. You might not know about. So when I started the business in the furniture, I'm not an interior designer, neither am an architect. But I have a business that's serving most of the architects and interior designers in this country, and we have won awards for what we have done.
Okay, now I'm going to throw some statements at you, and I want you to come up with the most summarized picture. You can give it to me under 15 seconds, all right? I'm going to hold you to that. No timer included, right? All right, now risk management. Right now, how would you pitch risk management to an entrepreneur who wants to be an entrepreneur but who never really makes that move? We all have that friend, right? So how do you pitch it to him in a picture?
Exactly, Tala. So you need to make that move, right? It's like you wanted to kiss a girl or maybe a guy. I don't know your taste, but it's like, you need to take that move, right? First move. Unless you do that, man, you will never know whether that girl or the guy would even like kissing you, right?
True.
So first go ahead and do it. Take the risk. Take the first move. So
obviously
entrepreneurship is
right?
such, yeah. So just don't be scared. Just go ahead and do it.
Do it, because unless then you never know where you stand.
Will never know, right? You can look at it and you can look at that girl and think, hey man, how would it be to kiss that girl? But unless you go and do that, you will never know it. So ask her out, maybe get her consent. I don't know.
Get her consent first.
But go ahead and do it if you really believe in entrepreneurship and if you want to be an entrepreneur.
Take it, yeah. So if you're an entrepreneur, bro, take her out. Whatever your passion is, go and ask her out. Right? You never know what the answer may be. All right, next up. I hope you're ready for this one. You obviously way involved in the clothing industry. You manufacture, you tailor designs that are way beyond just t-shirts, denims, shirts, and furthermore. Would you say you're ahead of, say, clothing industry, or would you say you're also just equivalent to them? Or you're quite different?
Well, part of our business involves the same processes, I would say, in terms of, cutting to stitching to, do all that, right? We beyond that, we actually go beyond that. Now, say for an example, if you take a sofa, we have to stitch the fabric, we have to do the fit on, and then we have to do the structure, we have to do the painting work, we have to wrap it, and we have to do the delivery. And then the number of functions, or the amount of things that we need to do is far more compared to putting out an apparel or like a garment, one piece or maybe 100 pieces even. So in terms of the complexities, it's definitely more than that, when it comes to furniture.
All right, all right. Understandable. I mean, you have to cater not just the design, not just the fabric. It's also innovated towards the consumer's taste, right? You can't just
absolutely, and it's
structure it
in
on
terms of the size and the depth, like in terms of the complexities,
different measurements are
different,
included, right?
It's completely different in that way. But we also do the same amount of things in terms of the selecting the fabric to do the stitching, cutting, all that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to hold you at gunpoint now. This is going to be a funny statement, right? Tell me 4 lies that you have generally told out. It could be goofy, it could be anything.
That we are capable of manufacturing anything, that we are capable of meeting your timeline, that
Yeah, 2 more to go.
2 more to go.
Could be towards anyone also. Maybe towards your wife or friend.
I won't say these are lies, but we are able to produce the best quality furniture in our industry and compete with any international brand out there. So we firmly believe that it's not a lie.
It's a belief. It's a belief.
It's a belief, and people can challenge it, but we are equally, up there to take the challenge and prove ourselves.
All right. I mean, beliefs can't be catered in as lies, so we could take it as a manifestation, right? Moving on, we have something very interesting here. I know get to this before we end this lovely podcast. These 3 books you brought down, and we did speak about the books. I know you have a lot of books. We met previously in your office. I saw numerous amount of books that were catering towards entrepreneur and various other things, right? For some reason, you brought these 3 books down, and one of the books being Crossing the Chasm by Jeffrey Emmer. What is something about this book that you will feel like every entrepreneur needs to learn from, and why would they need to buy it?
So this book, Crossing the Chasm, is something that I came across about good 8-10 years back. So it's about marketing and selling disruptive products to mainstream customers. It would be helpful for anyone in the tech industry. We spoke about tech industry, but there are some good insights that you can take away from this book. When you're catering your products to a mainstream audience, but you're a disruptive product, so how can you really penetrate the market and reach out to the masses? Because a lot of disruptive products, you have the early adopters, people who would buy your product and they would believe in your product, but that's a small minority of your market size. But if you want to really grow your brand, you have to reach out to the masses. So how you get to them? That's what this book is all about. So you study this and you read some of the principles on this book. It will definitely help you to take your disruptive product to a wider audience. So
basically about B2C.
Yeah, not only B2C, yeah, B2C. So it helped me in our industry as well, because we are disruptive in terms of what we do in our market, the design. So everything we design, and at times the pricing might be at a higher point. So we can't survive by catering to a niche audience. We have to take it to everyone in our market. So that's where our pricing, then the marketing strategies, then how we manifest our product to the consumer, how we gain their trust, all that matters. So that's what this book is all about. I came across this book some time back. So if anyone wants to sort of market their product to a disruptive product, definitely this big book would be helpful for them.
The next book you brought down was called Why Some Companies Can't Make the Leap and Others Don't. Good to Great by Jim Collins. And one of the main concepts that really took me through was also the chaos to concept in its phase 4. What do you think this book will really offer to the entrepreneurs out there, and why do you think they should read it? And what do you think the concept chaos to
So
concept
this
means?
book is about say you already have an organization that you put out like a structure. Say you have 5 people or you have 10 people. You're good. You're making money. You're doing good in your industry. But if you want to be the best, go right to the top. This is the book that you need to sort of read. Good to Great, where it talks about the culture, the people, the other components that you need to make it big. It's not about having that idea, and it's not about having that product only. There are a lot of other components that needs to come together. It's like you put a lot of ingredients to make your cake perfect, right? But you see the icing and then you like the whole look and feel, but there are a lot of ingredients that goes into making that particular cake. So this book is for organizations or for individuals who have done, who are into business. At least their business is about 3 to 5 years old. They've crossed the initial phase. So this is about you starting and you crossing it. This is about you being good, and now you want to be great. You want to be the company in your industry. So this book would be helpful for anyone wanting to be great in their industries.
Last up, we have this lovely book called Entrepreneurship, and this is not like a global entire book, but it's mainly dedicated towards South Asia.
Yeah.
So regarding the South Asian book, which is very less, you don't get much people talking about how to be an entrepreneur in a country like that's Sri Lanka, right? We face various problems than most other countries out there. And I would say, for one, it's generally being quite difficult to be an entrepreneur here than it is in other places, but there could be their own set of challenges. So entrepreneurship, a South Asian perspective, what's the main thing you could take away from it?
So this book, Talal, is something that I came across when I was doing my MBA. So it was one of the textbooks. Compared to these two, I've found in a different way. But I found this book interesting, where it talks about your passion, taking initiative, innovation is some of the key things in entrepreneurship, and how you implement these concepts, Talal, in a country like Sri Lanka, where the market size is small, where people don't want to take a risk, where people are not open to new products. So this is a common South Asian perspective, right? How people look at things compared to European countries or compared to developed countries. Our perspective of entrepreneurship is very different. So there are a lot of things that we can learn through this book in terms of entrepreneurship, and some key takeaways for me is how you work with people in countries like Sri Lanka, where you train them to take responsibility, you train them to be part of your organization, you change their mindset to believe in your passion and align themselves with you, because naturally they are not. So it takes that much more effort to align them with the concept of entrepreneurship.
Last but not least, a book that's not here but I believe will be yet to come. When will we see a book from a mentor like you, Dhanushka Fernando, writing a book about entrepreneurial sustainability or whatever it may take to make Sri Lanka great again through the entrepreneurial sector? When can we expect a book from
Well, very soon, Talal. I mean, that's something that I've been thinking a lot, but it's time to put that into action. But I personally believe Sri Lanka as a nation, our entrepreneurship percentage is less than 3%. I personally believe we should increase this up to 10%. So things that I've learned, things that have gone wrong for me, I did not have a lot of textbooks or a lot of material to read when I started. Practical things, that's what matters, Hala. People can talk about theory, right? But practical difficulties you face are, at a different level. So unless you've done that, unless you've gone through that journey, you can't really know. So very soon, and to 2025, I hope would be the year that I make a start, and within the next 1 to 2 years, definitely you'll see that coming.
Well, honestly, I think I'll be one of the first people in line to buy a book like that. And I guess that will conclude our podcast for today. And I just want to say thank you very much, Dhanushka, Ms. Dhanushka, for coming on board. And I know you're a busy person, but I just had to get you on board to know your story, to know how authentic it was to experience being an entrepreneur from a person as you. Because there are a lot of people out there, they falsify what an entrepreneur's experience is in Sri Lanka. You go to Dubai, you go to Saudi, you go elsewhere. It's a different experience, true, but you want to build up an empire in Sri Lanka, this is what it takes. This is what you got to go through. It's not a fancy lifestyle. It's tough. There's no one on your side. And you cater to all those questions today. And I just want to say thank you very much for making time for being on our podcast. It means a lot for us. Thanks for being on our first episode, by the way. Honestly, right? It's an amazing, amazing achievement.
Thanks a lot, Kalal. First of all, I want to extend my wishes to you and the team as well for, doing a great job and wish you all the success as well.
Thank you so much.
So thanks for inviting me for your first episode. Means a lot.
We had to.
And I'm always there for all the entrepreneurs. Anyone, I always speak about that. Anyone who wants to do their own thing, go solo, take that risk. And definitely people like us, we are always there to support you all. I want to see an entrepreneurial culture in Sri Lanka.
Mentorship happen.
Yeah, right? and have that community where we support each other. So whenever you guys take a risk and you all fail, people like us would be there to support you all, make those connections, make those networks, give that advice so that you all are successful, which eventually would help our country and our communities and, make our country that much better. So yeah, thanks once again.
And that concludes MTTM's first episode today. Thank you very much, Dhanushka, for being part of it.
Almost.
It was an amazing conversation. And we will see you all soon in our second episode. And who knows, maybe a roundtable discussion, maybe some controversial things, but these are the most authentic podcasts you could be part of. Because here we talk about everything that's not. I'm your host, Talal Marika. Have a good one.
Good.